Hi, Damo3 Gaming here. I've decided why not. I was talking to a friend and they told me to do this, so it's a recommendation. I will accept recommendations in the future. Say it in comments. I will have comedies, comedic skits going on here and there. It depends on when I have it and how I have it. Of course, these jokes won't be for kids, so if you're someone who understands jokes, go ahead and stay. If you understand kiddie jokes, that's okay, you can stay too. There will be a few of those too. But if you just understand the kiddie jokes, you're probably not going to laugh. Well, let's get straight into it. Well, so I was talking to my friend, right? Well, they said I was telling them how I've been trying to break a bone because I'm the only one trying to break a bone or hasn't broken a bone in the past and probably hasn't yet in my whole entire family. So I've always deliberately tried to. My first attempt, I tipped on my hand and bent it completely back. It was this hand right here, my left. It bent all the way back here. It started swelling up. I walked into there 6 hours, right? 6 hours later, after scanning, they come in like, don't know how it's possible, but you didn't break a bone. You just popped your thumb out. And I'm like, what? It's bruised. It's bent back. And you're just saying that? And then he did this and went, popped it back into place, right? I felt pain, and he says, go home. You'll feel it in the next few weeks. And I'm just like, but why in the world do I not feel it now? You popped it in place. Shouldn't I be feeling pain? So I go back future in 2 more years. I decide to jump up mountain climb, right? Rock climb the mountain. Go on the rough side, knowing that if I fall, I'll break a bone. No. I slip, right? I tumble down the hill, and it's like this steep right here. So it's like, whee! And I roll completely. After rolling for a while, I land on like almost every limb by now and every bone. I get up and I'm bleeding, right? I continue walking. My friend takes me to the hospital later. I'm in the hospital, right? They just say, how in the world are you still walking? Rocks are pushed into you far enough where it's going into your muscle, which is very painful. And I said, I agree. And he says, why are you here exactly? Are you trying to break a bone, Damien? We know your record. You come in here deliberately to do that almost every year. And I said, but it's been 2 years, man. Just check it out. Pull these out. And he's like, okay. He does the x-rays and everything. Turns out all I had was a bruised muscle, a torn thumb. Again, and wrist was a little bent out of place. They said, you should be fine in a week, right? Well, that's weird. Because I go home a week later, I'm just like, now what should I do? I decide to deliberately jump off of a rock kind of cliff. So you got a cliff, then it goes like this, and then it goes back like that. So I jump off of that. And when I land, I roll like this, like down the hill. I get to the bottom, right? And I land on my ankles where they're sideways and turn this way a little bit. I go to the hospital. The pain is unbearable. Not knowing how painful it was. I walk in, right? They say, nah. You're not broken any bones, Damien. Sorry. You're lucky, though. You haven't broken any bones. It means that you're one of the few. And I'm just like, but I should have broken bones, right? And they're like, no. Why in the world would you? You're Damien. I'm just like, fuck being Damien. I want to be me. Wait, I am Damien. Hold on. I want a broken bone, man. Come on. It took an hour and a half of talking to him to make him think that I wanted a broken bone. And he told me, go break it yourself and come back. Go to a professional wrestling center and get your ass kicked, right? And I'm like, no, that's the next one's like all the way in Kalispell. What am I going to do now? So a few years later, after a few years, I do this stupid thing. I go sledding downhill, right? Like this. So we have my house right here. You got a road right here that goes and curves perfectly down and goes straight down and then goes straight into the intersection, right? Well, I didn't realize it at the time, but I realize now that it was probably the worst idea I ever made. I'm right there. I'm on a sled, a plastic sled, trying to perfect this turn in midsummer on pavement. 90 degrees weather, beautiful sky, everything. Going down many times. I end up taking a break 17 different times, ripping the back of my shirt's completely in half because I keep on rolling off and scraping my back, right? My mom keeps on telling me to stop, but I'm like, no. So I keep on going. Then I come back one time and my little sister was patching up my back. And then she's like, what are you doing even out there? And I'm like, I'm going on a plastic sled on the curved road behind our house, trying to perfect it where we can go straight through the intersection. And she's like, I want to join. And I'm like, first, come see. And so she comes see, and I go, bow. All of a sudden, you know what she says, take off your shirt. The thing's too hot. And I'm like, friction, plastic, concrete. Sure. Take off my shirt. Give it to her. It's way too hot. And then she's like, we both should get on this sled. And I'm like, it's a round one-person sled. How are we going to fit on this? She's like, it's perfect. Just trust me. So I hop on, and we're going down, right? We perfect it. But as we're going down this hill, which, remind you, it goes like this, and then continues going like this through an intersection, we have a green light switch to red, and cars are going, and we have a line of cars just sitting there. And we're like, we're screwed. But as a cop is following us behind, stops up, like goes ahead and like is following us and yelling at us like, you need to stop. This is not what you're supposed to do with the sled. Wait until winter. This is dangerous. And then all of a sudden, it snaps in half. We both go flying off both directions, I roll into onward traffic coming towards me, laying on my back, bleeding like this, where it's coming over me, and I'm kind of just like, please don't hit me, please don't hit me. Sure enough, my hand gets hit by one of the pipes. Go to the hospital, right? But it was this hand. I go to the hospital because it started bleeding. It got cut really bad and it was really burnt. But I go there and it was hurting. They say, what's wrong with you, Damien? Why you look so down? And I say, I burnt my hand on a metal exhaust pipe under a car trying to do something stupid so I can end up back here. He says, well, at least it's been a few years. And I'm like, sure, we could say that. Just say what's wrong with my hand, dog. And he says, nothing. But we'll do the scans anyway. Scans my hand. There's nothing wrong. And he says, put this ointment on it for about a week. It'll be fine. So I put the ointment on, right? Apparently, that ointment was to get rid of the burn. But no, it caused the burn to get worse by going into it deeper and pushing it out more, which made it really painful. I couldn't take a shower, couldn't go outside, couldn't even use my right hand. Well, it's the middle of summer, right? I like to go outside during the summer, but I didn't go for the rest of that summer. And then about a year after that, I ended up back in the hospital with a concussion, just a mild concussion, gone away in about a week, right? Well, I flip over the scooter, so I go down this hill in a mad mood, and there's potholes, right? Because I wanted to go to one park, but my sister wanted to go to another. We got in an argument about it. I'm like, fine, we'll split up. I'll go this way, you go that way. We were both matched. I go down this hill, right? There's this big pothole, and I go, hit it. I flip over it, right? And I roll. I hit my head, and I land on both my hands like this, and my foot's crooked. I go to the hospital, right? I would just wake up I just finally get more conscious, and I'm like, what's going on? Why am I in the hospital, Derek? Which was the person who took me at the time, who was a friend, and he's like, it's okay, man. You're fine. He takes me home, right? He says, well, the doctor says that you sprained your wrist. And I'm like, finally, a broken bone. He's like, no, you just moved it at the wrong rate of speed and turned it a little bit, and you flipped and hit the ground. When you hit the ground and got a mild concussion, your handle got stuck under there, your body weight kind of crushed it a little bit, but you're fine. It'll heal in about a week. Sure enough, a week goes by. Then I decided to do something stupid about a year ago. A little bit less than a year ago, actually. This past summer, I was riding a bike, right? I was going 30 miles an hour, probably 25 to 30 miles an hour. I take one look towards this road to make sure no cars are coming out at me so I can move. As I go, next thing you know, I'm like this, and then go pow. I'm holding, and all of a sudden, I flip. My foot gets stuck between the tire, bringing that thing to a 90 degrees thing. I go to the hospital, right? A couple days later, because I got like road rash, everything, really in pain. A few rocks in my skin that I thought would pop out, but nope. I go to the hospital. They do all the x-rays and everything. They say, you're fine. Just some bruises, some scratches. It'll go away in a couple weeks. And I'm just like, Doc, are you positive? This thing has been hurting for the next few weeks. Has been hurting for the past couple days. It's probably going to hurt way more for the next few weeks. And they're like, yeah, it is. But next time, be careful and not look. And I'm like, okay. Bye. So I go home, right? And that's the last incident I had, right? Nope. I dropped the knife on my foot. Just a couple weeks ago, actually. It went into my toe. I go to the hospital for it, right? The knife's already out, and it was really infected. I go to the hospital for it, and they look at it and say, it's not infected. It's just pussing up because the knife was in there and for too long, and apparently you're not supposed to have the knife in there at all. I'm like, no, duh. A toe's not to be used for toe cutting accession. Thank you. So he just like gave me a few band-aids and ointment. I put it on, right? A week later, I'm fine. Weirdly. Then I got this haircut, right? Looks good, right? No. I go to school, and this haircut just doesn't look great. No compliments except for 2, maybe. In 6th grade, well, back to the story. In 6th grade, I got hit by a metal bat, right? By this guy, a bully. Imagine like me, but a little bit smaller, not as tough. And still wide shoulders, not as big muscles though. I'm sitting there reading a book. Dude swings a bat at me. Hits me right here. I go, ow, why'd you do that? I put my book down for a second saying, why'd you do that? That's not how you use a bat. I'm not a ball. The ball's over there. And he's like, well, your head sure does look like it's too round and fat. And I'm just like, okay, can you go that way, please? And he says, nah. And he hits me again. And then again. 10 times. I would assume that being hit once or twice maybe, it would make them realize not getting knocked out. If I wasn't getting knocked out, it would make them realize to drop the bat and run. Because someone who gets hit at about maybe 15 kilometers per hour, hit in the head with great force, and just getting your head hit into a tree, making a dent. Nah, 10 times, I get up and grab the bat, swing it around, not hit him, but I force him into the tree where I was sitting, and I tell him, if you were going to do that, maybe I should teach you a lesson of how it feels. I pretend to swing at him, right? He goes, I have a family. And I'm like, what type of family? Your own mom left you, your dad doesn't want you, your sister hates you. And he's like, well, and then he froze. Later on, he comes back to me, right? He tries to swing the bat again. But then I told him, remember what happened last time? He looked at me. He said, this time, I actually am here to ask you to play baseball with me. And I'm like, you want to play baseball with me? Yeah, I've seen you during PE class. You swing like a great man. And I'm like, fine. So I go ahead and want to play his game. Went ahead and I played the game, right? I'm playing the game. I'm swinging the bat. I'm doing so good. I'm running really fast. But I'm a really fat kid, so I'm out of breath. They keep on throwing it at me, the ball at me on purpose, hitting my knees. I end up rage quitting, walking away. And then during PE, it turns out we were playing baseball. I thought I would get it back at him, but instead of throwing it at him, throwing it right by him. Threw it right by them, right? Went kind of like they felt the breeze. They're like, holy shit, that was so close. But it got him out, right? Nope. I kept on going. Wanted them to win. But I wanted to do some warning shots. So everyone who threw a ball at me, I threw a ball right past their head. They hear it. They're scared, right? They're like, that was so close. And I'm like, thanks. I go ahead and grab the crab ball. Which happened, the crab ball is kind of like a ball that looks like a crab like body, but instead it's sort of baseball type of thing that we had in our middle school. The coach made it. It was soft and everything. I threw it like a football and curved it like this. It spun like this, went up like a tornado, came back down, landed right in front of him, hit his nose, came down, and he's just like, yeah, you missed. But little did he know, the next person that came over knocked him over. I wasn't planning anything, but that happened. Anyway, Damo 3 out. Thank you.